What's up, guys? I'm Max. I'd like to welcome you to my brand new poker channel, Pocket M's. This is my very first video. I hope you guys like it. And today we're playing 1-3 at Morongo on Sunday with our buddy Jay and our girlfriend Mona. The game's pretty good on the weekend, so hopefully we could run it up this Sunday. And I hope you guys enjoy the hands.
In our first hand that we play, we have ace queen offsuit in the big blind. It folds to the cutoff, who opens to $6. The button calls. Now the small blind, our buddy Jay, raises it up to $22. With such weak action, we put in a squeeze, putting our friend Jay to the test, 4-betting him to $65. With this early 4-bet, being that this is the first hand I'm playing, everyone seems to think we mean business and folds. Nice to take down my first pot, dragging in $33 in profit. Our next hand, we keep the premiums going with ace-king offsuit and under the gun 2. Our buddy Jay in under the gun 1 limps. I raise it up to $18, the low jack calls, and the limper calls. 3 ways to the flop comes jack 7-6, 2 spades. When it checks to me, I put in a $20 continuation bet with 2 overcards and a backdoor straight draw, and we take it down. I'm glad to get some respect at the table and drag in another small pot. This next hand is going to be a spicy one, so strap in because stacks are getting in. We have pocket 6s in the low jack. Under the gun 1 opens to $10, under the gun 3 calls. I call no low jack, the cutoff calls, and the small blind calls. 5 ways to the flop comes 6-9-9, 2 diamonds. Cha-ching! That's right, we flop a boat. All we're thinking now is how to make the most money possible with our monster hand. So when the under the gun 1 c-bets $30, I choose to just call, hoping to bring in more players into the pot, allowing them to catch up. The cutoff calls, and now the small blind goes all in for $125. For $95 more, the under the gun 1 player thinks about it and makes the call. The plan is working like a charm, and I'm sticking to it. Choosing to just flat call again, hoping to bait the cutoff player who only has $58 left in his stack. This works just like how he drew it up when he calls all in for less. Now we're 4 ways to the turn with 2 players all in, and it's me and the under the gun 1 player heads up for a side pot. The turn is the ace of spades. Now the under the gun 1 player checks. I think if anyone would have hit this card, it would be this player because he's the pre-flop raiser. If he has a flush draw with the ace of diamonds, he's definitely not going anywhere. And if he has 8-7 for a straight draw or any other diamonds, he may still have the right pot odds to call. I think for a bit, and I decide to go all in for $211, trying to get all the money in now while I most likely have the best hand. And there's still draws that he can chase. He doesn't think too long before flicking in a call. The river is a total brick. The 2 of clubs. I show my boat, and our buddy Jay announces to the whole table that we have a boat.
I know, boat.
Oh, you flopped?
Boat, nice. That's all.
Thank you, Jay, for letting us know we have the winner. The under the gun 1 player shows ace jack of diamonds for top pair in the nut flush draw, so we got max value off him. The small blind player has a 9 for trip 9s, and the cutoff apparently had a straight flush draw. Our boat is good, and we scoop a massive $920 pot. Let's freaking go! Not short after stacking 3 players, we pick up a premium. Pocket queens in the low jack. Under the gun 3 limps, I open to $18. The cutoff calls, the small blind calls, and the big blind calls, as well as the limper. 5 ways to the flop comes 9-7-5 rainbow. It checks to me, and I c-bet $25. The cutoff calls, and the under the gun 3 player calls. Turn is the bank queen of clubs. We have top set. I'm worried about someone having 8-6 for a straight. Our buddy Jay in under the gun 3 donks out for $75. If anyone has a straight, he probably does because I have a lot of hand history with him. I only make the call with top set for this reason, trying to boat up on the river. And the cutoff tanks for a while and then makes the call as well. Don't really know what he has. 3 ways to the river, praying for the board to pair. Comes the 7 of diamonds answering our prayers. Cha-ching! And yet again, we have a full house and a massive pot. Jay checks, I bet out for $200, and the cutoff jams for $250. Jay thinks about it and makes the fold. I snap call, and I show my boat, and it's good. The cutoff shows pocket king, surprisingly. Sheesh. Did not expect that hand because he slow played it pre-flop. Jay told me he folded 8-6 on the river because he knew someone boated up. Good fold by our buddy Jay, and our stack hits a new all-time high of 1455. Let's keep the heater alive. In this next hand, we have ace-jack offsuit and the low jack. It folds to me, and we open to $15. The hijack, button, and the small blind call. 4 ways to the flop comes ace-king 4, 2 hearts. I c-bet $25 for my top pair, and only the hijack calls. Heads up to the turn comes the king of hearts. Pretty bad turn card because it pairs the middle card and brings in the front door flush. In hindsight, I think a check is best in this spot. However, we continue betting in order to represent strength and get value from a worse ace. We do have the jack of hearts giving us a second nut flush draw, so we have removal to some flushes, and we still have outs against a low flush or trip kings, so I bet out for $40. He jams for about $64, only $24 more. I'm not loving this spot, but with boat outs and with another ace or king and the jack of hearts with a second nut flush if another heart comes on the river, it's a pretty easy call for $24 into a $200 pot. However, the dealer thought I called already and prematurely put out a third king boating me up. I was indeed going to call, but because I didn't make any actions yet, and the river would have given me the winner against my opponent's 8 high flush, my opponent throws a tantrum, calling the floor over. Even the dealer said that he assumed I made the call because it's such a small bet on top that no one would fold in that spot. After some discussion of what happened, the floor decides that we need to chop the pot. So we say bye-bye to an extra $100 in profit that we could have had. This is just a reminder that we always need to stay alert at the table because at the end of the day, the dealers are human too, and we all make mistakes. However, it is up to us to prevent these types of mistakes from occurring. I hope this doesn't happen at your table. Next hand, what better way to keep the heater alive than with our favorite hand, 9-5 offsuit in the hijack. I call this hand the Exodia of poker because it never loses for me. I wish it was suited, but we can't have everything. Anyways, the low jack limps, I raise it up to 15 with Exodia, the button, small blind, and Jay the limper calls. 4 ways to the flop comes 5-10-5, 2 clubs. Cha-ching! We love Exodia. With trips, I see bet $20 trying to get value from flush draws or a 10. Exodia is working wonders because the button and Jay and the low jack both call. 3 ways to the turn comes the 8 of spades, bringing in 2 flush draws and connecting the board more. I size up now to $75 to charge any straight draws, flush draws, or a non-believing 10. They seem to believe because they both fold and we take it down. For those that question this hand, this is why I play it, because when this hand hits, it hits hard, and no one ever expects you to have it, allowing you to get paid. The stack has broken the 1.5k mark, sitting at 1540. Thank you, Exodia, and let's keep the run good going. Unfortunately, we go card dead for about an hour until we look down at ace-5 of clubs in the cutoff. Early position limps, I raise to $15, the small blind calls, and the limper folds. Heads up to the flop comes King Jack 9, 2 clubs. We flop the nut flush draw. This board is very good for our pre-flop raising range, and when he checks, I c-bet $15, and he calls. The turn is the 5 of diamonds, giving us bottom pair. When he checks, even though all we have is bottom pair, we want to turn this into a bluff and keep firing because we have the nut advantage as the pre-flop raiser and have loads of equity with potential to make the nut flush on the river and disguise trips 5s or even 2 pair if an ace peels off on the river. For those reasons, I size up to $45 and he folds a 9 face up. This is why it's important to play your range and not just your whole cards. The very next hand, we have king 10 of clubs in the hijack. We are clubbing today. There's an early position limp. I raised to $15, and it goes 5 ways to the flop of king 7-6 rainbow with 1 club. It checks to me. I see bet small with my top pair, and the big blind and the under the gun 1 player call. 3 ways to the turn is the 2 of clubs, upgrading us to a flush draw with my top pair. It checks to me, and I size up to $65, a half pot bet. They both fold, and we take it down. Nice. In this next hand, we have ace 10 offsuit in the big blind, a pretty strong big blind special in my opinion. So when there's 2 limpers, we raise it up to $20. They both call. 3 ways to the flop comes ace jack 9, 2 hearts. I see bet to $25, and they both fold. We take down yet another easy pot. In this next hand, we pick up pocket 9s in under the gun 1 at exactly 9-11. You'll see why it's important later. We open to $15, and it goes 5 ways to the flop, which comes 5-3 deuce, 2 clubs. Pretty great flop for 9s, so I see bet $25. The low jack now jams for $95. The low jack player has been jamming light with his short stack, so I put him on a top pair or flush draw type holding. When the button calls, I also put him on a flush draw or straight draw type hand. I think about what my best options are, and I decide that rejamming for 140 more, putting the button all in, is probably the best option because pocket 9s should be the winner most of the time on this particular low flop. The button player calls as well, and we go to a run out in a 3-way all-in pot. The turn is the 7 of clubs, a pretty bad card because I expect someone to have hit their flush. The river is the jack of diamonds, putting an over card to my pocket 9s. I show my 9s thinking they are probably no good anymore. I am right. But to my surprise, the button shows pocket queens, and the low jack shows pocket aces. How did neither of these players re-raise pre-flop? We get into big trouble with pocket 9s, losing about $250 total to higher pocket pairs. What a tragedy at 9-11. The stack takes a hit. So some notes after this hand. These players at the table never 3-bet. They also over limp. They limp all sorts of good hands, including our buddy Jay. But how do they not 3-bet aces or 3-bet queens in the button? What is going on? I mean, at least we have a mental note. If anyone ever 3-bets, we're just going to fold if we don't have queens plus. Right as I speak, the very next hand, I see there's a 5-bet all-in with, of course, aces versus ace-king. And that's what I thought. Let's try to bounce back with jack 9 of spades and under the gun 2. Jay's in under the gun 1, and he limps. I open to $15. It goes 4 ways to the flop of 10-8-6 rainbow. I think about c-betting our open-ended straight draw, but choose to check instead because this board does not favor our pre-flop raising range. And action surprisingly checks around. The turn is the 8 of hearts pairing the middle card. Once again, I check, and when it checks to the hijack, he takes a stab for $25. Jay and under the gun 1 and I both call. The river comes another board pairing, 10 this time. It also completes the backdoor flush draw, so pretty wet board overall. Jay checks, and with just jack high, I'm just going to give up and check too. The hijack obliges and checks as well. Jay shows king 4 of hearts for a flush, and he's good. Maybe I should have just c-bet the flop with my open ender because a double barrel most likely would have taken it down, but I'm still happy with how I played it overall. The stack, however, is taking a downward turn, going under the 1400 mark. So if jack 9 couldn't do it, let's see if ace king can. We pick up ace king offsuit in the cutoff. The low jack opens to $12. With such a powerful hand, we 3-bet to $40. The small blind, interestingly enough, cold calls the $40, and the low jack comes along with a call. 3 ways to the flop, and a 3-bet pot comes 9-7-4, 2 hearts. We completely whiff. We have the king of hearts and 2 overcards, but when the small blind donks out for $50 and the low jack calls, I make a conservative fold, not wanting to put more money in with just ace high and an ambitious backdoor flush draw. We witness the rest of the hand. The turn is the 4 clubs. Small blind bets again for $50, and the low jack re-raises to $100. The small blind flats. The river is the 10 of hearts, completing the front door flush. And it causes them to slow down on the river, going check, check. And the small blind shows pocket 7s for a boat. Interesting way of playing it. Surprised he didn't go for value on the river, and he seems like a trappy opponent.
It's a trap!
Something to take a mental note of. Anywho, the stack continues taking hits down to 1330. Right now, we're getting a bit tilted at this moment, and we go card dead for about 30 minutes when we finally pick up a playable hand, which is 9-7 of hearts in the low jack. There's a straddle to $6 in under the gun 1. It limps 5 ways to the straddler, who puts in an isolation raise to $36. It's not much of an isolation raise when everybody calls. So 6 ways to the flop in a bloated pot comes jack 7-4, 2 diamonds. When it checks to the straddler, he c-bet jams for about half pot of $107. With middle pair, even though all I have is a 7, I still think it could be good some portion of the time. We're also a bit tilted. So with middle pair, I make the call because I think the straddler could be doing this with any 2 cards because of how much money is in the middle already. However, I didn't account for the 3 players behind me and get instantly punished when the small blind jams for $400 and I'm forced to fold. This was high-key a punt, but I thought the straddler was just really weak. They run it out, and my read was definitely wrong because the straddler shows a jack, and he would have got me anyways. But the small blind wins the pot with pocket 4s for bottom set. Did not really like how he played this hand. I thought we could have just folded it pre-flop, but this is a result of tilt, and our stack suffers because of this. Yet to win another pot, we pick up a beautiful holding. Ace king of clubs and under the gun 1. We open it up to $15, and for whatever reason, the cutoff only looks at 1 card, announcing it to the table, and makes the call. The small blind comes along as well, and the small blind is an action player overplaying top pair. He's been caught bluffing with ace king high on some flops as well. He said he hit the jackpot on slots, so he's kind of in punt donkey mode right now, which is good for the table. Anyways, 3 ways to the flop comes queen 4-7 rainbow with 1 club. The small blind donks out for $15. I make the call with my backdoor flush draw and overcards. And now the cutoff re-raises to 45. This is the player who only looked at 1 card, so he must have at least a pair. The small blind donkey jams now for $150. That's my cue to get out, so I quickly fold. The cutoff snap calls. The small blind has queen jack offsuit for top pair, and the cutoff, who only looked at 1 card, has pocket aces. Sheesh. We got super lucky. He only looked at 1 card, or else we could have lost a big one if he 3-bet us pre-flop. The run out comes 9 of clubs, giving me hope to bink a hypothetical flush, and the river is a total brick. So the small blind donkey gets stacked once more, and I was luckily able to dodge some bullets. After running super hot in the beginning, I decided that the run good is over and to rack it up and call it a day. Overall, good session on a Sunday at Morongo.
Alright, so that was my session at Morongo 1-3. I hope you guys liked it. So the session overall went very well. We were running red hot in the beginning. We hit 2 boats in the first like 30 minutes. We're just winning pot after pot. Our chip stack went all the way up to $1,600, which is pretty insane for 1-3 in such a short amount of time too. Yeah, unfortunately we couldn't keep it going. It went to the moon and had to come back down. So it started coming back down after the pocket 9's hand. After that hand, we couldn't really get anything going, and we couldn't really, yeah, it took forever to win another pot. We tried to force it and punted with 9-7 of hearts. So we punted $150 right there. And then we actually got really lucky because we could have lost more in the Ace King of Clubs hand against the guy with aces, but he didn't know he had aces because he only had that one card. So I got really lucky because I could have gotten all in pre-flop potentially. And so we avoided a huge disaster right there. And that's kind of just my cue to get out of the game, book my win. So overall, really good session. We were only in for $300, out for $1,126 for a profit of $826. Pretty good for 4.5 hours. Future expectations for this channel, probably 1-3 to 2-3 content and the occasional 5-5. My girlfriend Mona is also going to be incorporating her hands into the vlog, so it'll be like a couples vlog type thing. She unfortunately didn't get enough footage this time, but you'll see her in other vlogs in the future. So if you like our content and you want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. And thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.